Greetings, it's Uncle Travelling Matt here, and this is the morning of the 14th day of our Bongo Scotland trip, so we're really near the end now, and currently we are sitting in a lay-by where we slept last night off the A85, I think it is, which is just north of Loch Lomond. Again, as with last night, we kind of got in too late to make a video, so that's why I'm doing it in the morning, because we finished up in Canna when we got in. I think it was about 8:30 or something like that, and then drove because there's a big long journey to Stirling, which is our goal for the day, and I wanted to knock off as much as we could in terms of like kilometres, and there's now only about 80 kilometres to go, so that's pretty good. What did we do yesterday? Well, yesterday was Canna. Woke up quite early in the morning. I always seem to wake up earlier with camping. Didn't have the greatest of heads because had a bit of a night drinking the night before, plus slept in a tent, which is not the most comfortable. But yeah, woke up on Canna, absolutely gorgeous scenery, and we went for a walk. And we walked westwards towards the centre of the island. So the island's kind of almost like the shape of a nut. What's those nuts? Like a peanut, yeah, where it's got the two, like the figure of eight shape. And in the middle, it's a bit narrower. And in the middle, we walked along the southern coast and then cut inland because there's some things called the souterrains, which are like Iron Age dwellings where you can get inside. And that's what we were aiming for. Unfortunately, couldn't find them, which was a bit of a disappointment. And although the scenery was spectacular, when we were on the top of the island in the middle and we could see both coasts, the midges were horrendous. And we'd forgotten to bring all our midge stuff, so we couldn't stop for very long. So we went back to the southern coast and then walked through the settlement of Tarbert. I say settlement, it's a house that nobody lives in. And then we went on some epic cliffs, and they were really, really quite spectacular. And the views were incredible, very high cliffs. And at the foot of one of them was a very early, I think like 7th or 8th century nunnery, or the remains of it, which is what I'd come to see. To be fair, though, whenever we stopped, the midges were horrendous, and so we just couldn't stop. So we got tired and we started walking back, and by the time we got back to Achill, which is the main settlement on Canna, absolutely shattered. Even though I'd only done like 15,000, no, about 20 odd thousand steps by then, absolutely shattered. And we were just like gasping to get to the cafe, where we spent a considerable amount of time recooking and having some incredible food. There's only one place to eat on Canna, and it's called the Canna Cafe. It is a little expensive, but the food is amazing. And we had a soup, which was with chickpeas, lentils, and peppers, I think, and it was unbelievable. And then Thomas had like a kind of beef and garlic mayonnaise and gherkins kind of sandwich thing with homemade bread, and the beef was grown on the island. It was from cattle reared on the island. And I had salmon from Malig with like a kind of cream cheese thing. It was very, very nice. So yeah, the cafe is brilliant but expensive. On our walk, I mean, we did see some amazing stuff. Like Canna is a volcanic island, so it's mostly basalt. So I think Rum was a volcano and it erupted thousands of years ago, and Eigg and Canna are the results of that. I certainly know that's the case with Eigg, because I read that in a guidebook, and I assume because it's all volcanic rock, like igneous rock, that Canna is the same. So you got this amazing basalt, and there was an area that we saw that almost looked like a mini Giant's Causeway with the basalt columns. It was really something else. And then the whole, all the bays with these beautiful multicolored rock pools were unbelievable to see. It was really nice. Unfortunately, the weather broke, So most of our walk was dry, but when we were kind of going back to the cafe, it started to rain, and then after that, it rained solidly for several hours, which was a shame because we hadn't seen everything, and we did after we'd recovered in the cafe. We went round to see a little bay, and then there's a tower that was a prison where the local laird held his wife because she was unfaithful, or maybe it was his daughter, I'm not sure. And it was like something perched on a cliff, like something out of Famous Five. Brilliant, but you can't go up to it. And then next to that, there's a beach of black rocks, but then next on the other side is this incredible beach. It's one of the most unbelievably beautiful beaches I've ever seen because the sand was pure white and then pure black in layers. So it was like almost like a stripy beach, and then at places they merged and created these beautiful patterns. So wow, yeah, something else. I mean, I'm more for human geography rather than physical geography, but some of the stuff we've seen up in Scotland has been incredible, and it's kind of helped me to understand physical geography a bit better. So we went there. We also went to the Church of Scotland church, which it's quite new. It's about 100 years old, but it's built in the style of an ancient Irish church with a round tower, the kind you find on some of those early Celtic monasteries in Ireland. It was really nice, but it's in a poor state of repair and it's leaking all over the place, which is a shame. Although the acoustics are very good inside. And then we went on to see the Celtic Cross. So it's called the Broken Cross because there's only about half of it left, but there remains of this incredible carved Celtic cross on Canna, and that was part of a whole monastic community that many people think is connected with St. Columba. It was his second community after Iona. And there was a kind of artist reconstruction of what it may have looked like, and pretty stunning. And then after that, we were walking back in the rain, and we met the ranger, and we had a chat with her, which was quite interesting because I didn't know too much about, the role of a ranger, and of course their roles are as affected by austerity as everybody else. There's not many rangers these days, where there used to be a lot more. Again, another of those kind of hidden victims of government cuts. Although she's lucky because she works for the National Trust of Scotland, so that's a charity, but they still get funding from the government, so it has still affected them. And then we had what was probably the low light of the day, perhaps even of the holiday, where we walked back in the driving rain when we were tired to put the tent away. And we found we'd left the tent open, so stuff in the front was kind of wet, and it was just miserable standing there in the rain, packing everything up and putting the tent away. But I think the first time ever, we actually managed to fold up the foldable tent as it should be folded in a very short time. We didn't have to have several goes at it. And then we walked back to the cafe and sat in there for another hour or two, drinking tea, eating cake, waiting for the ferry. The cafe owners, by the way, are really friendly. And for me, the thing with Canna is just the absolute friendliness of the entire community. You feel like we met half the residents, and everyone was really nice, and you just feel like you belong there. And I think I want to go back. And there's not a lot to do there, but that doesn't matter. I'd like to go back for 2-3 days.
Yeah, there was like some sort of magic.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you can hear that, but Thomas said there was some sort of magic, and there was, and there's a magic that maybe I've been hoping to find in other places that we've been in Scotland, and I haven't found. Like, they've been nice, but that magic wasn't there. But on Canna, there was a magic, and I don't know what it is. But the magic continued on the boat going back. So there was only about 5 passengers on the boat going back. We should have stopped at Rum, didn't. But it was so calm. It was literally, at one point, there were no ripples in the water. I've never seen the sea like that. It was like glass. And we were going along. And then on the deck, there were a couple of twitches. It was quite cold. So, and having seen the journey on the way there, I was going to stay indoors for most of it. But then it was announced there were some dolphins, a pod of dolphins by the boat. So we went up and we actually saw dolphins swimming by the boat. Not just one pod, but later there was another, and that we also saw minke whales. And I've never seen anything like that, not in the wild. Like, I think I saw one dolphin once on a boat trip from Corfu to Albania, and that was it. And it was more like someone said, oh, it's a dolphin. Oh, yeah, and there's like a slither of black and then it's gone. But here, they were literally jumping out of the water continually as we were going along. It was unbelievable. And the whales.
Points were like really close.
Yeah, they were really close. And it was also the whole landscape, because it was so placid and the evening was drawing in, there were these mists over the islands, and it was incredibly beautiful. And of course, that's really apt, because Skye, the name means the island of mist, and we saw Skye shrouded in mist. Although the mist around Eigg and Rum was, I think, something else. So that was that. We got back, we got chatting to a woman who works on the ferry as well, a really nice lady, and she actually gave us some stickers and stuff, so that was cool. Anyway, then we got back to Maleg, picked the van up, and drove through the night, drove through to Fort William, where I filled up with petrol, and then carried on through the pass of Glencoe, and we're now here on the A85 with 80 kilometres to go until we hit Stirling, where we're going to see our friend Dave and Emma today, and their kids, Ailey and Lewis, and that's kind of the end of our trip. So there will be, I guess, one of these videos tonight or tomorrow morning, but then I don't know if there'll be another after that, because after that it's just the drive back, and we're a bit sceneried out, and we're beginning to think, well, okay, it's time to go home. So that's it. Keep travelling.
Keep traveling.